It's finally here. Origin Game 1 kicks off tonight. The talk is done. The preview is over. The predictions are in the books. The multis are already going to be set in stone. And of course, all the talk has been around who wins this game. It's so important for New South Wales with Game 3 in Queensland at Suncorp Stadium. They cannot afford to go there and have a decider once again. It was the exact same scenario 2 years ago. And last year, New South Wales didn't even make it to Game 3 in Sydney. So it just shows how important that home field advantage is for the New South Wales Blues. For Queensland, this is more or less a roll of the dice. You can bet their bottom dollar they'll be doing everything they can to try and beat New South Wales, because if they do, then they essentially get 2 free cracks at winning the State of Origin series. But we'll find out tonight where exactly that goes. But all the talk for Game 1 has been done pretty much. We find out in just about 12 hours' time. But today I wanted to talk about this entire series because while the focus is, of course, on Game 1, we've still got 2 more games to talk about. There's obviously going to be mass changes depending on who loses this Game 1. And for the other team, they'll be probably reloading the same squad because that's how it happens in Origin every year. It's a 6-week roller coaster, not just for the punters, not just for all the fans, but for the coaches and players as well, and more specifically on the ladder. As a state, as footy fans, as sport fans in general, there is nothing better than getting behind your favourite player. And the good thing for State of Origin is, because the players are so good, when you lose you blame the coach, and when you win you hype up the players. So obviously we've seen it in the past few years. The bigger State of Origin gets, the bigger the occasion gets, and the bigger the difference between good players and great players, especially at the State of Origin arena, is becoming wider and wider, and legacies are really getting defined by their performances in the State of Origin arena. It's why Nathan Cleary is still yet to be seen as even better than a guy like DCE. But what makes an Origin player? Well, it's standing up in the big moments. It's standing up on the biggest stage. Queensland for 8 years in a row had a bunch of Origin players. Well, New South Wales can never have the guy to really break them. And no one remembers how close the majority of those games and those series were. It was just the difference in the dying moments from guys like Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston, and Billy Slater. That were the difference. That's what makes an Origin player. So today, I thought let's go through what are, in my opinion, the 4 most important players in this State of Origin series. The guys that I think are the ones to look at for that Wally Lewis medal, and the guys who are going to win this for their state, or potentially with a lackluster performance, could honestly cause their state to have no chance at all. As always, smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't yet already. Let me know what you think in that comment section down below. And let's kick things off talking about the guy that you already know I'm going to talk about, because he's in the thumbnail. He's been in most of the thumbnails talking about Origin so far, and I really talked a lot about him in my Game 1 preview and predictions. That is, of course, Reece Walsh, the Queensland fullback. He's become probably the best fullback in the entire competition, and he's also the only player that your missus actually is keen on watching. And while that is disappointing for us average-looking fellas, it makes sense. This guy is easily the most popular player in the world right now, and he's still super young. He's only going into his 2nd Origin series. He played a key factoring role into why they won their first 2, and spoiler alert, he wasn't there when they lost Game 3. And of course, with no Cameron Munster, like I said in my preview, I reckon that this little hot bastard is the main thing that Queensland will be relying on to win this State of Origin Game 1. Like I've said 1,000 times, and like everyone who even Stevie Wonder, by hearing the names that Madge Maguire has picked, can understand the New South Wales game plan is to go right through the front door. And Queensland, well, they won't be too fussed about that because they only need one quick play of the ball. They need to get to a spot on the field, and if DC and Tommy Didden can put Reece Walsh in space, then Joseph Suaalii or Stephen Crine are in for the fight of their lives. There is no one who looks more impossible to defend at the moment than Reece Walsh. Yes, strength is obviously a key factor in rugby league, but no one is breaking every single tackle at this level of rugby league. But that speed has caused trouble in club level. It caused absolute havoc against New South Wales in the previous series, and I think that gap between the half, between the centre, if Queensland can give Reece Walsh good ball in those areas, then it could be an absolute disaster. And it doesn't matter how much New South Wales dominate the field position, how good their long kicking game is, no matter how good they are for 60, 70, 80% of the game, if Queensland can just execute that moment, if Reece Walsh can find the ball, run through the gap, give good service, then it could not matter at all. That is how good Reece Walsh is. Unfortunately, I know most of us hate him because of how good looking he is. But if Queensland put this kid in good space, then our misses are going to be watching a Reece Walsh highlight reel on what's meant to be the biggest stage of rugby league. In a series that's going to be so close, especially with the way Michael Maguire is setting out his game plan, it could be a Reece Walsh masterclass that could be the difference. There is no one who has got more attacking upside in both of these teams than Reece Walsh. And when he's got the hammer, and when he's got Valentine Holmes, and he's got Xavier Coates, he's got all these weapons outside of him, New South Wales edge defence has to be on 1,000%. Because if not, the Reece Walsh highlights package for this Origin series is going to be amazing. He's going to have a Wally Lewis medal, and more chicks are going to be leaving their husbands for a chance at Reece Walsh. But if New South Wales can somehow, some way neutralise Reece Walsh, whether that is by simply jamming in and getting lucky, because that's what's going to have to happen, New South Wales are still going to be looking to dominate field position. And with this pack that New South Wales have picked, it's very defensive orientated. But that being said, if one bloke is going to stand out, if New South Wales execute their game plan 1,000%, the one guy who needs to have a big series to really be the difference maker for that New South Wales forward pack, then it's got to be Payne Haas. Payne Haas, arguably the best front rower in the entire competition. He's become one of the first players picked for the Blues. He's had some really good Origin performances in the past, but he's never had a man of the match, and he's never had a player of the series. Like I said, New South Wales are going through the front door. They've got a very defensive orientated pack with guys like Jakey Javovic, Cameron McInnes. Even on the bench, they only have Spencer Leniu, who's an out-and-out front rower, and he's a very different type of front rower to what Payne Haas will be. Payne Haas will be seeing majority of the minutes on the field, and he could absolutely be the difference between New South Wales just matching Queensland in the middle or going straight through them, running over the top of them. Queensland have done an excellent job on Payne Haas, and it's going to be hard for Payne Haas, probably more so than Reece Walsh, because you know what, Queensland are going to be front-loading their defence, because I love Jakey, I love Cam McInnes. Isaiah Yo's got a bit more go forward about him, but there is only one real massive threat. Obviously, we've got absolute frothers on the bench and in the back row, but Payne Haas, when it comes to an out-and-out middle forward who's going to be seeing the majority of the game time, more so in attack than defence, he's going to have to put his hand up. He's going to have to run over 150 metres if New South Wales are going to execute this game plan. He doesn't have to do the big defensive load. He's got all those players there to help him with that. He doesn't have to ball player. He just needs to get good ball, run between shoulders, or better yet, run over the top of one of his Brisbane Broncos teammates. If Queensland can neutralise Payne Haas, then it becomes that job that New South Wales are trying to achieve so much harder. Then you're going to have to really rely on guys like Jake Trbojevic and Cam McInnes to have more go forward in the Origin arena, which is simply not how they're being picked to play. So it's on to Payne Haas to be the difference, to really set the tone for New South Wales. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good Payne Haas plays if the kicking game for New South Wales cannot match Queensland. And while Hines is going to be important, there's going to be no more important half on this entire field than DCE. I love Hines, I love Luai, I'm rooting for them both, but nobody has outkicked Nathan Cleary on a consistent basis than Daly Cherry Evans. When it comes to the State of Origin arena over the past 5 to 6 seasons, there is only one great out-and-out kicker, and that is DCE. I love Cleary. Cleary's obviously had some incredible Origin games, but every time, no matter how good he is going into Origin, at that arena, he is always outkicked by Daly Cherry Evans. And as good as New South Wales can be, DCE just turns him around, kicks in the corners, then it doesn't matter how good New South Wales back five is coming out of trouble. It doesn't matter how many metres Payne Haas can make or run over the top of. It doesn't matter how good New South Wales is defensively, because if DCE can turn a bad set into a great set, then it doesn't matter. New South Wales' entire game plan can be absolutely destroyed if New South Wales do not get on top of DCE. I think a lot of this will come down to how the game is being refereed. We've seen in Origin in the past that they allow kickers to be absolutely belted, even then DCE is still being good. But every year, we haven't seen Harry Grant get sin bin for what he did. So if they are going to be cracking down on kick pressure, then it absolutely doesn't matter. Like I said, New South Wales, it doesn't matter how good they are defensively, how good the back five is, how good the forward pack is. If DCE can turn Queensland's bad sets into good sets, like he has in the past, then it might not matter. New South Wales game plan could be thrown out the window, and DCE without Munster too, he's going to be looking to prove a point. It's a golden opportunity for him. In his final ever Origin series, he could definitely stand up and be honestly the guy who ruins dreams and hearts for all of New South Wales. I really wish this giraffe would get back to winning Proven Summons trophies instead of Origin shields for the inbreds. Now, there is one more guy I want to talk about, and New South Wales fans, Queensland fans, you can click off this video if you don't like this right now, but I think while there's been all the talk about Cleary going down, Hines playing through a potential calf injury, the background noise of Mitchell Moses coming in, there's one guy who I think there's going to be there for all 3 games. He's going to be the 5'8". It's Jerome Luai. I think Jerome Luai might just be the most important player outside of Payne Haas for New South Wales. He's won 3 comps. He led Samoa to a World Cup final. He was the best player in the World Cup, and he was part of New South Wales' biggest ever winning Origin margin over Queensland. He was easily our best player in 2022 Game 1. He got dropped for Game 3 after a subpar performance in Game 2. But if New South Wales are really going all in on this left edge with Crichton, with To'o, with Angus Crichton, then Luai's going to be the conductor of that side. We all remember what Latrell Mitchell did in 2021. Who was giving him good service? Who was giving him good ball? It was Jerome Luai. Not to mention, look at Jerome Luai's kicking game versus the Sharks. If Nicho Hynes is off, then it's going to come down to Luai, especially in Game 1 in Sydney, where it's going to be a bit of a boggy track. Who knows? Maybe Nicho's calf isn't 100%. Maybe it's going to be up to Luai, and I've got more confidence because Luai brings so much confidence, not just to New South Wales on the field, but off the field. I really do think that with an outside back that doesn't have the X factor that Latrell Mitchell had, that Tom Trbojevic had, when the game's on the line and the ball needs to get into Stephen Crichton's hands, it's going to be up to a guy like Jerome Luai to give it to him, whether that's through a kick, whether that's through a pass. Luai could be the man, and is more than likely going to be the man in control of New South Wales' most predominant attacking edge. He's going to do his job defensively, and if Hynes is unfortunately having a Barry Crocker, then it's going to be up to Luai to steer the ship. And while I really want to see Nicho Hynes succeed, it was Luai who absolutely baits him less than a fortnight ago. But I think outside of Payne Haas, considering the way New South Wales are trying to play their Origin football in 2024, then I think Jerome Luai is probably the most important player outside of him. But there are my 4 players who I think are going to be the key in this 2024 State of Origin series. Obviously, there's a heap more, and I had a heap more, but I don't want this video to go for 20 minutes. Spencer Leniu could have a great impact. Paddy Carrigan is always great. There are so many players who could have a say, or not just this Game 1, but this entire Origin series. But I think that these are the 4 to have a look at. I think these are the 4 that are really going to tell who's going to win this State of Origin series or who is going to lose it. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think is the most important player in the 2024 State of Origin series? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already, and enjoy your cheeky rugby league State of Origin football.